What if the first breath you took in a new world was also the first step toward your own death? 3 hours. That is all the system gives you before your heart stops beating for good. Somewhere out there, other transmigrators wake up as princes, as sword geniuses, as fated heroes. You wake up as a worker ant. No name, no family, no reproduction. Just a number stamped on a stat panel, a countdown already ticking. Your name, back when you still had a human body, was Jang Yang. Now you are 6 legs, 2 antennae, and a body smaller than a fingernail. The stat panel glows red in front of your mind, and one line burns brighter than the rest. Lifespan: 2 hours, 58 minutes, strength 0, constitution 0, agility 0, spirit 0. The only thing you have going for you is a single talent: superhuman strength. It doubles whatever pathetic base stats you start with, which right now is basically nothing. You want to scream, but ants do not have vocal cords built for screaming. So you scream inside your own skull instead. Is this some kind of cosmic joke? I finally get my transmigration, and I get handed a corpse timer. Then the system speaks, calm and merciless. Congratulations, host. You are destined to become an existence that tramples gods and demons. You almost laugh. Trample gods and demons, with a body that could not even beat a chicken. None of that matters if you are dead in under 3 hours. A notification flashes. First blood quest. Kill any living creature. Reward unknown. You look around the nest. Thousands of black worker ants surround you, oblivious, mindless, moving in endless lines. No hands. No weapons. Just a talent that doubles a strength stat sitting at 0. You lock eyes, or whatever an ant has instead of eyes, on the nearest worker ant. Sorry, brother. You just happen to be standing closest to me. You charge, climb onto its back, and realize you have absolutely no idea how to actually attack. Do I bite it? Do I use my antenna? This feels disgusting, even though I am technically an ant now. The countdown answers that question for you. Weird or not, who cares? What if the reward is lifespan? You bite down. The worker ant thrashes wildly beneath you, dragging you across the nest floor. This is humiliating, and it is also the first fight of your entire new life. Over a full minute later, the worker ant finally stops moving. You collapse on top of its corpse, completely spent, and the system chimes. Evolution points +1. Quest reward. Lifespan +1 day. Strength +0.1. 1 single day. That is the entire reward for your first kill in this world. This system is stingy as hell, but complaining will not save your life. You open the evolution function for the first time, and 3 words appear before you. Evolve. Merge. Enhance. Evolve lets you become a new species while keeping your old talents. Merge lets you fuse with another creature entirely. Enhance simply pumps points straight into your stats. The moment the weight of being trapped as an ant forever lifts off your chest, you feel almost giddy. If I can evolve, none of this matters. An elephant with superhuman strength. Just imagine the number. You try to enhance immediately, and the system slaps you down. Insufficient evolution points. Each enhancement costs at least 10 points. You have exactly 1. You want to flip the system off, except you do not currently have fingers. Then you notice something in your inventory. A single fragment. Superhuman strength fragment, beginner tier. 10 fragments make a talent stone. 10 talent stones make an ultimate stone. Talents themselves can be upgraded. Your mood does a full 180. If beginner already doubles my strength, imagine what ultimate does. A new quest triggers immediately. Evolve into a soldier ant. You scan the nest. Nothing but worker ants as far as you can see. The system does not spell it out, but you are not stupid. To become a soldier, you probably have to kill 1 first. And to kill 1, you need points. A lot of them. Time waits for no one, especially not for a host with a countdown clock stapled to his soul. You charge at the next worker ant, and this time it feels completely different. 0.1 strength turns out to be terrifyingly effective against creatures that were already at 0. You pin it down without a fight and finish it in seconds instead of minutes. I am already this much stronger. This is insane. You start clearing worker ants one after another. Roughly 1 kill every 10 seconds. Evolution points trickle in reliably, but talent fragments drop far less often than you would like. After 30 kills, you tally the damage. 33 evolution points, 9 fragments. You dump 20 points straight into enhancement. Agility and constitution both tick up by 0.1. Host stats have reached their limit. The system warns, please evolve or merge. Of course there is a limit. You are still just a worker ant after all. A pound of strength already feels like a miracle for something this small. So the grinding continues. minute after minute, kill after kill, until the fragments finally pile up. 100 fragments synthesize into 10 beginner stones. 10 beginner stones synthesize into a single ultimate stone. A green light swallows you whole, and when it fades, your strength multiplier jumps to 2 times. For one glorious second, you feel unstoppable. Then every worker ant around you rises at exactly the same moment. Your heart stops. Did they figure out what I have been doing? Am I about to get swarmed? But they are not coming for you. They are marching, in perfect formation, toward the exit of the nest. The queen has ordered a foraging run, and you slip into the crowd to see the outside world for the first time. You also want one thing more than sunlight: a soldier ant to kill. Sure enough, standing guard outside the nest are ants a full size larger than you. Soldier ants. Dedicated fighters who never lower themselves to manual labor. You have grown used to worker ants folding the instant you press them. You assume soldiers will fold just as easily. So, you charge the nearest one without a second thought. You are right. It goes down into hits, effortlessly. Soldier ant killed. Evolution points +2. You are practically glowing with pride. That pride lasts exactly as long as it takes for a sharp pain to shit up your back. You spin around, and your blood runs cold. This is not one soldier ant. This is an entire wall of them. A lowly worker ant just assassinated one of their own. In their eyes, that is unforgivable. You turn and run, sending one blocking soldier flying with a single swing. The powder keg is already lit. The whole swarm comes for you, mandibles snapping. Worse, a cloud of winged male ants lifts off behind you, cutting off your escape into the sky. You cannot outrun something that flies, so you stop running. You dive straight into the dirt and start digging like your life depends on it, because it does. Come down here if you have the guts. You snarl, half at them, half at the system that put you in this mess. The first male ant that pokes its head into your tunnel dies in a single strike. Down here, in the dark, in the dirt, you are the apex predator, not them. One male ant is worth 2 or 3 worker ants in fragments alone. The math finally starts working in your favor. But the swarm above keeps digging too, forcing you to fight and burrow at the same time. Without rest, somewhere in the middle of all that chaos, your evolution points finally hit the cap. 1000. Evolve, you command, without a second of hesitation. A black light swallows your tiny frame, and when it clears, you are wearing the body of a soldier ant. Lifespan +3 days. 10 ultimate fragments drop straight into your inventory. You barely have time to enjoy the upgrade before your mind circles back to one burning question. Are the soldiers outside as strong as I am now? The host is destined to trample gods and demons, the system answers flatly. Even your own kind cannot compare to you. That is exactly what you wanted to hear. You evolve again, straight into a male ant, wings sprouting from your back for the very first time. Nearly 10 pounds of raw force now runs through a body barely bigger than your palm. You point yourself straight up, back toward the surface, ready for a full frontal war. The soil above you feels strangely wet. Is it raining up there? You burst out of the ground and freeze completely. The soil was not wet from rain. It was wet from something else entirely. A saber-toothed tiger 4 or 5 meters long has just marked this exact spot as its territory. You shoot straight up into the sky on your brand new wings, hard hammering. The tiger does not even bother looking at you. It exhales, and the gust alone sends you tumbling through the air. It shakes its fur and struts away without a second glance, as if you are beneath its notice entirely. Humiliation burns hotter than any wound so far. You glare at its retreating back and make yourself a promise. The day I become an apex predator, you pay for this. As if the universe heard you, a new quest lights up. Defeat the queen. Return to the nest and finish her. Perfect timing. You finally have somewhere to point all this rage. The male ants that were chasing you burst out of the nest right behind you, and you do not hesitate. Your body, now far stronger than theirs, tears through the swarm like a blade through paper. In under 10 minutes, there is not a single moving male ant left in the sky. The soldiers and workers on the ground start retreating into the nest like a tide pulling back. None of you are getting away, you think, diving in after them. You re-enter the nest as a conqueror this time, not a fugitive. The queen frantically throws every soldier and worker she has left at you, trying to bury you in numbers. It plays right into your hands. More bodies just means more evolution points. Your points cap out almost instantly. Male ant body limit, 3000. You synthesize everything at once and your talent jumps straight to advanced tier. 3 times multiplier now. The small fry stop being worth your time. It is time to find the queen herself. The chamber with the most bodies packed inside is always hers. You push forward without resistance. When you finally see her, pale, bloated, endlessly squirming, your stomach turns. She has no combat ability of her own. All she can do is scream orders that no longer matter. You approach and finish it in a single decisive strike. Evolution points plus 50. Quest complete. Lifespan plus 5 days. The reward feels small for killing an entire colony's mother, and the system explains why. A queen's value is not measured in combat power, it tells you flatly. You consider evolving into a queen yourself for exactly 1 second. Before deciding that is an absolute hard pass. Instead, you keep farming, keep synthesizing, until your strength talent reaches high tier. For times multiplier, a brand new quest triggers. First fusion. Find another species and use the fusion function. You barely have time to wonder what that even means before a giant dragonfly lunges straight at you, treating you as lunch. You dodge twice, then decide to stop dodging entirely and just ram it head-on. The impact ends its life instantly, but it also snaps 2 of your legs and 1 antenna clean off. You do not stick around to loot the body. Something bigger might be watching. You dive underground to hide, and something else is already down there waiting. An earthworm bursts out of the soil right beside you, and you pounce without thinking twice. You bite off a chunk of its tail, and the system offers you a fusion option for 500 points. Success rate, 32%. Nobody warned you fusion could fail. You commit anyway, because standing still has never once kept you alive in this world. The fragment dissolves into light and slams into your body with a wave of pain. Then the pain simply vanishes. Fusion successful. Choose your path. You pick limb regeneration over a cosmetic tail attachment without a second of doubt. The moment you gain it, your broken legs start healing right in front of your own eyes. Regeneration speed is tied to constitution, the system notes, and you realize just how overpowered that really is. For days after that, nothing worthy of a real fight crosses your path. Earthworms, beetles, nothing that even makes you sweat. Then a new quest lights up. Defeat a mantis. Your eyes light up along with it. A mantis actually sounds like a real opponent. You find one the hard way, when a massive shadow drops out of a tree and pins you to the ground. Its mandibles close on your head again and again, and to its complete disbelief, nothing breaks. Are you done biting me yet? You think. Right before exploding with everything you have. You pry its arms open, flip onto its back, and sink your jaws into the base of its skull. Its own attacks bounce uselessly off your shell while you grind down one single spot, until it finally stops moving. Evolution points plus 30. Reward, lifespan plus 5 days, plus a new talent called sharpness. Sharpness makes every attack from a sharp body part hit that much harder. You could not have asked for a better gift. You evolve into a mantis on the spot, shedding the ant body you never wanted in the first place. The evolution costs 2,000 points, more than anything before it, but you pay without blinking. A new, far more imposing form rises out of the green light. Your scythe-like limbs feel like actual weapons now. You max your stats, and the math finally clicks. 50 pounds of force out of a 20-centimeter body. You could lift a full sack of rice with these arms, and slice through nearly anything with these blades. Killing weak ants now feels like an insult to your own power. But your evolution points are running dry, so you do it anyway. You slash through an entire nest in one sweep and wait for the chime. It never comes. Killing creatures too weak to matter yields no evolution points. The system informs you coldly. You almost cough up blood in frustration. Nobody mentioned that rule before you needed it. That means only one thing now. You have to hunt things strong enough to actually push back. A new quest arrives right on cue. Defy the heavens. Slay one of your natural predators, a bird. The old saying about a mantis stalking a cicada flashes through your mind, and you almost laugh. You lay yourself out on an open branch as bait and wait 3 entire days for a single bird to take it. When one finally dives at you, you meet it head-on with both blades raised. The impact snaps one of your legs clean off, but the bird does not survive the collision at all. Evolution points plus 50. Reward, 5 days of lifespan, and a skill called Heaven-Defying Strike. Doubles the power of any single attack once per day. You already know this is going to save your life someday. Not long after, another quest points you toward a beehive half a meter wide, hanging heavy from a nearby tree. You stab it open without thinking, and a black wall of furious bees pours out and chases you for hundreds of meters. Lesson learned the hard way. You switch to picking off lone bees one at a time near the hive instead. 3 evolution points per kill adds up fast when there are thousands of them to farm. 3 days of quiet grinding later, your points break 10,000, and the system unlocks its very first shop. Lifespan, healing potions, poison, all for sale, all painfully expensive. You buy a single bottle of basic poison and swear to only use it when your back is truly against the wall. When the hive finally runs empty, you swagger over and cut the whole structure down in one swing. A bee king and a dozen drones spill out furious, and you cut through every single one of them without slowing down. Bee king's stinger acquired. Paralyzing venom. You refuse to sell it back to the system for a measly 500 points. That stinger is about to matter far more than the system thinks it does. While you are still savoring the honey scattered across the ground, the earth itself starts to shake. A massive brown bear crashes into view, big enough to make even you, a giant menace, back off into the trees. It claims the honey without a fight from anyone, and you decide, for once, to let it have this one. Then the jungle around it lights up with pairs of glowing green eyes. A pack of wolves, jungle wolves, has arrived. You watch, stunned, as the pack actually dares to besiege a full-grown bear, and worse, as they actually pull it off. The bear breaks and runs, leaving the injured wolves twitching on the ground behind it. An idea sparks the instant you see them. If I take these two down, maybe I evolve into a jungle wolf myself. You drop out of the tree and land straight on the neck of the nearest fallen wolf. Your blades tear it open easily, but it manages to brace itself against a tree and refuse to go down. Then the bear's roar echoes back through the jungle, and the wolf starts howling for its pack to return. You are out of time. You pull the bee king's stinger from your inventory and stab it straight into the wolf's chest. The paralysis hits instantly, and this time there is nothing left to stop your final strike. Jungle wolf killed. Evolution points plus 2,000, capped out in a single hit. You have no time to celebrate. The rest of the pack is already closing in, and you take off without looking back. You land somewhere safe and command the system immediately. Evolve into a jungle wolf. 7,000 points, gone in a flash of green light, and when it clears, you are standing on 4 mammal legs for the first time in this world. It feels almost like coming back to life. Right up until you look down and see how scrawny this new body actually is. Every fiber on your back stands on end a second later. You already know what is coming before you turn around. The same tiger. The one that humiliated you with a single exhale. It tilts its head, curious, sizing up what looks to it like nothing more than an easy meal. You do not even see it move before 4 claw marks open across your body. This is it, you think, completely in despair. There is nothing left to fight back with. All you can do is howl, one long, furious, helpless sound. And somehow, impossibly, other howls answer back from the distance. You can understand every word. Hang in there, brother. We are coming. A dozen seconds later, an entire wolf pack arrives, still dragging the brown bear's corpse behind them. They bare their fangs at the tiger as one unit, and even it knows better than to fight an entire pack alone. It gives you one last reluctant glare and disappears back into the trees. A new quest lights up almost instantly. Nemesis. Defeat the tiger that keeps humiliating you. You could scream, humiliating me. This is just how hunting works out here. The pack's alpha approaches, eyes full of quiet authority. Lone wolf. Where are you from? You have no good answer, so you simply close your eyes and pass out on the spot. When you wake up, you are in a warm cave, and a wolf pup barely the size of a golden retriever is staring at you. You are awake. Are you a lone wolf, mister? I guess I am. You tell him. Call me Big Brother. The pup lights up instantly, and just like that, you have your first real family in this new world. You are too weak to hunt, but your stomach makes its hunger known before your pride can stop it. The pup dashes off and comes back dragging a bear paw bigger than his own head just for you. One bite tears straight through it, and the pup's eyes go wide with awe. Your teeth are amazing, Big Brother. Every mouthful of meat pumps a little more strength and a few more evolution points into your body. The pup notices your wounds healing far faster than anything he has ever seen, even faster than his own father, the alpha. Excitement gets the better of him, and he runs straight to tell his dad, leaving you no time to prepare an excuse. The alpha arrives, a massive 3-meter wolf radiating quiet authority. You have recovered fast. Where are you from? I forgot, you answer, and to your relief, he does not press further. Are you willing to join our family? He asks instead. I am, you answer, and just like that, the quest to integrate into the pack completes itself. The pup, whom you name Lanking, becomes your shadow, your student, and the closest thing you have to a real brother here. You feed him a talent stone one night on impulse, and watch strength surge visibly through his body. His eyes go wide. Big brother, my strength is increasing. Every day you spend with this pack chips away a little more at the wall you built around your own heart. 6 days of non-stop eating later, your body is transformed from scrawny runt into something the alpha barely recognizes. When the pack finally lets you join a real hunt, you take down a full-grown antelope with a single swipe of your paw. The other wolves stare in disbelief. He did not even use his mouth. Letting you into this family, the alpha says, might be the smartest decision I ever made. You harvest over 20 beasts that single day, and the sound of evolution points rolling in feels like music. 3 peaceful days of hunting and farming follow, right up until the true overlord of this jungle starts starving. That same tiger, the one you swore to make pay, finds the wolfden's food stores while the strongest hunters are away. Only the old, the weak, and the very young are left behind to guard it. An old wolf holds back a furious Lanking with everything he has left. Take the pups and run. Leave this to us. Lanking obeys, dragging the pups to safety, while 8 elderly wolves turn back to face a tiger they cannot possibly beat. By the time you and the alpha make it back, the smell of blood has already told you everything. 8 corpses lie scattered across the den floor. The tiger stands in the corner, still feasting. This is my territory, it growls, completely unbothered by the wolves surrounding it now. The pack charges without waiting for an order. This is their revenge to take, not yours to steal. You move anyway, straight into its path, and take a swipe meant to just scram you out of the way. Its paw goes numb from the impact. For the first time, the tiger actually hesitates. Several wolves seize the opening and sink their teeth in while it is distracted. You see your shot, its throat, exposed, and you channel every ounce of strength into a single devastating bite. It thrashes, catches you with its claws, opens its jaws to finish you off, and you cannot dodge in time. Then a massive shape slams into it instead, taking the killing blow meant for you. The alpha, his body between you and death. The pack is in your hands, he tells you, blood pouring from his mouth, staring only at you. Something inside you snaps. A roar tears out of your throat that does not sound like fear anymore. It sounds like fury given form. You launch yourself at the tiger's jaw, clamp down with everything you have, and refuse to let go no matter how many gashes it carves into you. Tiger killed. Cross-level kill. Evolution points plus 2,000. You do not even glance at the reward. You drag yourself, bleeding and broken, to the alpha side instead. Promise me, he whispers, using the very last of his strength. Take care of them. I promise you, you answer, word by word. From now on, I am their king. He closes his eyes with a faint, relieved smile, and the entire den erupts into a chorus of mourning howls. Lanking bursts in moments later and finds his father already gone. He breaks down completely. You force yourself up on 3 good legs, blood still dripping from your wounds, and speak with a steadiness you do not entirely feel. From today onward, I am the Wolf King. Every wolf, no matter how injured, drops to its knees before you. Reward lifespan plus 30 days. New quest, expand the pack. Assimilation is the best method, the system notes. You order Lanking to bury his father alone, a final ritual no one else can carry for him. Then you drag the tiger's corpse back to your own den, because letting that much power go to waste feels almost criminal. Fusion cost, 5,000 points. Success rate, 79%. Almost half your entire stash on one gamble. You accept without hesitation and choose the path that fuses tiger bone directly into your own skeleton. The pain is blinding, but when it clears, your physical ceiling has risen by 10 full points across the board. The very next day, your body has grown to 2.5 meters. Taller and heavier than the old king ever was. Once we are strong enough, you announce to the pack, we are going to annex every wolf pack in this jungle. The pack howls in answer, fired up by a single word. Annex. On the next hunt, you spot a 300-kilogram wild boar sunbathing, completely unbothered by your presence. A single leap and one swipe pins it into its own tusks against a tree trunk. It never stood a chance. This one drops a rare fragment, and your eyes light up. So, boars carry loot other prey does not. You order your pack toward the boar's territory and infiltrate their nest alone, taking down 11 more before the day ends. Constitution plus 50% from the new thick hide talent. Your body just keeps getting harder to actually hurt. What you do not know is that the boar king back home has just discovered 11 of his subordinates are dead. He rallies his entire herd, over 100 strong, and after a full night of blind searching, they finally find your den. A quest triggers the instant they arrive. Protect the pack. Keep over half of them alive. You send Lanking and the pups deep into the cave and step outside alone to face the herd yourself. You dump every evolution point you have straight into strength. 20 full points, times from your talent. The boar king charges the boulder above your head first, trying to smash you down before the fight even starts. You let him hit it, then land and open the real fight with a tail whip that sends him stumbling. Enraged, he abandons any pretense of honor and sends the entire herd at you all at once. The crowd is so dense they trample each other before they even reach you, and every wasted corpse makes your heart ache. So, you run instead of fighting head-on, drawing the herd into a wide circle until their formation stretches thin. Then you turn back and tear through the scattered stragglers one by one, precise, merciless, efficient. By the time the boar king realizes what is happening, you have already dropped 10 of his best. Furious and desperate, he changes tactics entirely and sends half the herd straight toward the sealed cave entrance. Instead, you sprint back at full speed and shove the boulder shut with everything you have left, sealing the pups inside. The boar king and the guards ambush you from the side the exact instant the boulder falls into place. You cannot dodge without letting the pups die. So, you do not dodge. His tusk tears open your leg, but the cave door holds, and that is the only trade you actually care about. Surrounded now, injured, you decide there is only one option left. Dive straight into the middle of the herd. Your skyrocketing agility turns the chaos in your favor. You weave, slash, and poison every boar unlucky enough to get close. The tide of the battle turns so completely that even the boar king starts to feel something close to real fear. Every 1,000 points you earn goes straight back into your stats, mid-fight, making you stronger with every single kill. By the time the boar king finally charges you himself, he trips over a corpse and falls flat in front of you. Midair and unable to dodge fully, you still manage to twist enough to survive the tusk that catches your leg. You use the fall itself as a weapon, sinking your teeth into his throat before he can recover. Flung across the battlefield by his final desperate thrash, you land in a heap. But you are still standing when it counts. The boar king's courage finally shatters completely when he realizes you are still coming for him. Even now, his last 2 guards abandon him outright and vanish into the jungle without a second thought. You do not chase them. You do not need to. You walk straight up to the collapsed king instead. He dies with nothing left to say, and a quest chime rings out over his corpse. Lifespan plus 30 days. You have earned nearly 20,000 evolution points from a single battle. And you choose to save them, not spend them. To brown bears drawn by the smell of blood take one look at the corpse field and simply turn around and leave. A leopard, arrogant and unbothered, saunters up to steal a share of your kills before you have even caught your breath. Put that down, you warn. It ignores you completely and keeps dragging a corpse away. You unleash heaven-defying strike the moment it finally attacks, and the fight ends before it truly begins. Talent fragment secured. Task complete. A pack of scavenging wild dogs takes one look at your bloodstained fur and simply flees. You collapse into the pool of blood around you, completely spent, and chug a healing potion before the darkness takes you. Hours later, your own pack finds you, having clawed through solid rock with their bare paws just to reach you. Lankin's eyes are bloodshot from crying and from rage at himself for being left behind. I am fine, you tell him, though your voice comes out hoarse and broken. 2 hours pass in that pool of blood before you finally stand again. Wounds gone as if they never happened. You leap onto the boulder and let out a howl that shakes the entire jungle, declaring what everyone here already knows. From this day forward, the timber wolf Jang Yang is the apex of this food chain. Just 1,200 points short of the next shop tier. You set out alone to close the gap. An antelope falls in seconds, and the system stays silent. To big a stat gap, it explains flatly. No points awarded. So, you go looking for tougher game instead, and find it waiting in the river running through your territory. Crocodiles, 3 to 4 meters long, patrol those waters like they own every drop of it. You wade in like you own the place instead, completely ignoring the jaws gliding just beneath the surface. The moment they finally close in, you strike first, dragging one clean out of the water before it can react. The rest of the pod comes for you in a fury, whipping their tails wildly, missing you entirely because you use their own comrade as a shield. On land, your speed outpaces theirs completely. You finish the one in your jaws and turn to face the swarm. One more clean kill with heaven-defying strike, and the crocodile talent stone finally clicks into place. 20,000 evolution points. Shop level 2. Unlocked. The new stock is underwhelming, a berserk potion and an antidote, but you already sense they will matter more than they look. 6 days of quiet, methodical hunting later, both new talents finish upgrading. Tough skin, swift agility, 50% boost each. Back home, you feed Lankin another stone and watch him grow from a meter-long pup into a nearly full-grown wolf overnight. Boss, I have gotten stronger again, he howls, thrilled every single time it happens. Keep the den active, you tell him. I am heading out for a few days to see what else is out there. There is a wolf pack to the northeast, he tells you, bigger than ours. One his father always warned him to avoid. With you around, he thinks, swallowing them whole sounds less like a warning and more like an opportunity. You head northeast alone, and by midday you arrive at the edge of what the locals call Cyan Wolf territory. Every creature here feels a full tier stronger than anything back home. This place is not for the weak. You spot the cyan wolves easily, over 100 strong, led by an alpha well over 4 meters long. Charging that many wolves head-on is suicide, so you wait, hidden, patient for 3 long days. Finally, the entire pack moves out together, marching with real purpose through the trees. You trail behind them silently, and they lead you somewhere you never expected. A massive fissure torn straight into the earth. Giant pythons pour out of it, each one thick as a barrel, and the biggest coiled at the edge is at least 6 meters long. The cyan alpha steps forward, trying to negotiate some kind of truce between the two territories. Then the ground itself seems to shift, and something far larger erupts from the depths of the fissure. 10 full meters of muscle and cold, dead eyes. This is the actual ruler of this nest. It strikes before the alpha can even react, wrapping around him so fast the movement barely registers as motion at all. His bones crack audibly under the pressure. His howls of agony are enough to set your own teeth on edge. The rest of the cyan pack charges in blind fury, and the two sides collapse into a full-scale melee. You weigh the odds for exactly 1 second before deciding. Those are your future soldiers. You are not letting them die here. You dive into the chaos, sparing every wolf, showing no mercy at all to a single python. Killed python. Evolution points plus 800 per kill. And there are easily 100 snakes on this battlefield. 80,000 points, waiting to be collected. You almost laugh out loud in the middle of a life-or-death battle. You howl, more out of pure excitement than strategy, and the cyan wolves just stare at you, utterly confused by the stranger's screaming victory mid-fight. No time to explain. You cut straight through the pythons blocking your path toward their constricted alpha. I will save you. Take your pack and retreat. You roar at him as you close in on the massive snake still crushing him. You leap, twist midair, and clamp down directly on its skull, forcing it to release its grip out of pure instinct. The cyan alpha, freed, uses his very last breath to order a full retreat, and every wolf obeys instantly. You finish the giant snake with heaven-defying strike, crushing its skull outright in a single devastating bite. Its death sends the surrounding pythons scattering in every direction. Cold-blooded creatures do not mourn. They only scramble for succession. Killed python. Evolution points plus 1,000. Better than any kill so far, and you barely have time to register it, because every hair on your body suddenly stands straight up. The scattered pythons stop moving, all at once, as if some silent order has reached every single one of them simultaneously. They turn in perfect unison and surround you completely, leaving open only one path, straight into that bottomless fissure. A vertical pupil, impossibly massive, opens somewhere deep in the darkness ahead of you, 20 meters long, a full meter thick, a fleshy horn crowning its skull like something out of a nightmare. Your jaws, so proud a moment ago, suddenly look like a toddler's teeth against a full-grown boulder. One word fills your mind completely: run. You dive into the nearest crack in the rock and crawl for your life, dignity forgotten entirely. Behind you, the true Snake King carves through solid stone in pursuit, the sound alone enough to rattle your bones. A new quest flashes across your vision. Kill the Snake King. You almost choke. Kill that. I would not even scratch its teeth. You ignore the quest entirely and just keep digging, until the tunnel finally opens into a massive underground cavern, big enough for 10 Snake Kings to move side by side. And right now, it feels like every single one of them has shown up. The giant head smashes through the wall behind you just as more pythons pour out of every other exit in sight. Completely surrounded, you brace for the end, but something makes you pause. None of them are actually advancing. They are circling, waiting, wary of something, and it is not you. You catch a faint fragrance beneath the reek of snakes, and in the corner, half hidden by rubble, you find the source. A small tree, barely a meter tall, 3 dark green fruits hanging heavy from its sparse branches. This nest is not protecting territory. It is protecting this. You take one step toward it, and every python in the cavern tenses instantly, the Snake King's tongue flicking wildly. Your odds have just changed completely. You do not dare get closer, afraid of triggering a suicidal frenzy. They do not dare attack, for the same reason. A full day passes in that impossible standoff, hunger gnawing at you the entire time. The Snake King breaks first, hissing out a faint green mist that drifts silently toward you. Poison, the system warns. You almost smile instead of panicking. You see the opening instantly. It wants to play dirty. Fine. You can play dirtier. You chug an antidote to neutralize the actual poison, then immediately follow it with a berserk potion, chasing something far more valuable than a cure. The berserk high hits, then fades, leaving behind exactly the crushing weakness you were counting on. You collapse, completely paralyzed, 90% of your strength gone in an instant. And it is not an act anymore. It is real. The Snake King studies you, suspicious, unwilling to close the distance, and simply keeps pumping out poison instead, convinced it is winning slowly and safely. Every second of that 10-minute weakness window feels like it lasts an entire lifetime. Then, right as the effect finally starts to fade, power floods back into your limbs like a dam-breaking system. Max strength and agility, right now. 20,000 points vanish in an instant, and both stats rocket straight to their absolute ceiling, 30 points each. Your body twitches on instinct, a small, weak, desperate crawl toward the fruit tree. The Snake King reads it exactly as intended. A dying creature's last, pathetic attempt to destroy what it cannot have. Fury override every ounce of its caution. It lunges, not at you, but directly at the tree, throwing its own body between you and its treasure. And that is the one mistake you needed. The instant its massive body passes directly over your head, you strike. Rewind for a moment, back to the days right after you first joined that jungle wolf pack. Store the food, you told Lanking, eyeing the mountain of meat the pack had hauled home. He looked at you like you had grown a second head. We do not store it. We just eat it all, eat it all. You stared at that literal mountain of meat, certain they would eat themselves into the ground. The more we eat, the bigger we grow, the stronger we get, he explained. Patient with you like you were the slow one for once. When your own portion arrived, piled high, you were full after a few bites while Lanking kept going like his stomach had no bottom. So this was the rule of this strange new world. Eat enough, and the body simply answers by growing stronger. On another hunt, you suggested calling it a day before the pack wasted more prey than it could carry home. Waste, the alpha chuckled. In this forest, there is no such word. We eat everything we catch. So the hunt continued into the night, and by the time you finally counted the tally, 20 beasts, 3,000 points in a single day. Walking back through camp, several young female wolves shot you fiery, unmistakable glances. And you did not even slow down to notice. Back at your own den, Lanking had a question that had clearly been burning in him for days. What should I call myself? Big brother. From today on, your name is Lanking, you told him. And his whole face lit up like you had handed him a crown. The name Big Brother gave me sounds so good, he said, thrilled beyond words. Meanwhile, far from your den, the wild boar king was discovering 11 of his subordinates missing, and losing his mind about it. Wolves, king, sneaked into our territory, a boar reported, reading tracks left in the mud. The boar king declared war on the spot, and led over 100 boars charging blindly through the jungle, looking for revenge. The problem? None of them had ever actually left home before. Not one of them knew which direction the wolf den even was. Search. Find them even if we tear this whole forest apart, the king demanded, refusing to slink home empty-handed. After a full night of directionless rampaging, they finally cornered a terrified monkey and forced it to point the way. That is how 100 furious boars ended up finding your den at all, guided by one unlucky monkey pinned against a tree. Back on the Crocodile River, the pod had learned to fear the sight of your shadow on the water. Every time they crept up to drink, the slightest ripple sent them scattering. Terrified it might be you again, you waited in anyway, unbothered, and let them surround you at a leisurely pace. More curious than threatening at first. Finish your drink and get lost, their eyes seemed to say. This is our territory. You were never here for a drink at all. The instant they entered the shallows, your legs exploded with speed, faster than any of them expected from something your size. You clamped down on one before it could even react, and dragged it straight toward the shore. The rest of the pod turned savage instantly, whipping their tails at you with everything they had. You simply held your catch up as a shield, letting their own comrade absorb every blow meant for you. Once on land, your speed only widened the gap further, and you finished the job cleanly, blood gushing into the dirt. Tough skin fragment secured, and one more crocodile down. The math kept favoring you every single time. When the swarm charged you on land, you activated Heaven-Defying Strike without hesitation this time, ending the lead crocodile in a single devastating bite. You needed every one of those points and fragments, because the shop upgrade sat tantalizingly close, just out of reach. 6 days later, both new talents finally finished. Tough skin, swift agility, 50% boost, stacked directly onto stats that were already terrifying. A tail whip that once rattled your organs barely registered as a tap after that upgrade landed. You began to understand something important about this system by then. Being too strong meant working for free. Only prey slightly weaker than you actually paid out real evolution points, which meant chasing bigger threats was the only real path forward. That single realization is what sent you north, toward a wolf pack Lanking swore was too dangerous to approach. And that same realization is exactly what pushed you down into a snake nest. That dwarfed anything you had fought before. Every choice, every risk, every reckless leap since that first 3-hour countdown has led directly to this single moment. A pale green wolf, teeth locked onto the weak point of a creature 20 meters long, hanging on with everything it has left. Let's rewind just slightly. Back to the exact moment your stat panel first read out as a jungle wolf. Host, Jang Yang. Species, jungle wolf. Constitution 11, agility 12, spirit 11. Talent, infinite strength, tier 10. Top tier limb regeneration, sharpness, 30 to inventory slots. Lifespan, 8 days, 2 hours, 58 minutes, 8 days. That number alone was enough to keep you awake at night, calculating every single risk before you took it. And that was before factoring in the 4 times multiplier your talent, still quietly stacked on top of everything. Every enhancement, every fusion, every reckless charge into a stronger predator. All of it traced back to that one number ticking down. You never once forgot it, not even in the calm moments. Not even wrapped in the warmth of a den that finally felt like home. Back on that first real hunt with the pack, the scout wolf signaled an antelope, and you shot forward before anyone could stop you. I have got this, you called back, already committed. Prey means evolution points, and you were never one to let points slip by. The other wolves watched, certain you were about to get yourself trampled by a beast twice as fast as any of them. Instead, you crept low, exploded forward, and pinned it with a single paw before it even registered you as a threat. He did not even use his mouth. One wolf muttered, stunned. Even the alpha frowned at the sheer casualness of it. Only 50 evolution points for something that size, you thought. Almost disappointed despite the impressive kill. That night, the alpha called for a feast to properly welcome you into the fold. And you seized the excuse immediately. I want to be the one to take down all the prey today, you told him. Already scheming for more points, not more glory. Some wolves even volunteered as porters that day, dragging the mountain of prey home while you kept the kills coming. Letting you join this pack, the alpha said quietly, watching you work, might be the smartest decision I have ever made. That night, curled up in your den, lank and crept in, tail wagging so hard it nearly knocked things over. Big brother, even my dad called you a god, he told you, practically glowing with pride on your behalf. You ruffled the fur on his head, and for one quiet moment, none of the countdown, none of the danger, seemed to matter at all. As strong as me, he said once, eyes full of a longing that hit you harder than any wild the tiger ever left. That longing is exactly what pushed you to feed him your first talent stone. Watching strength bloom through his small body in real time. If you had known sooner that talent stones could be shared, you thought later, you might have handled that ant colony entirely differently. Too bad there is no cure for regret, you told yourself, and moved on. Because standing still had never once kept you alive here. Every single time the system dangled a new quest in front of you, some deeper part of you had already learned to say yes first and calculate the cost second. That instinct is what carried you from a doomed worker ant with 3 hours left to a wolf king, standing over a fallen tiger. It is the same instinct that sent you crawling into a snake nest 20 meters deep, teeth locked onto something far bigger than you. Somewhere behind you, back home, a half-grown pup named Lanking is guarding a den that trusts you to come back. Somewhere in your own chest, a countdown clock that has never once stopped ticking is still quietly running. And somewhere ahead of you, in the dark, a bite has already landed, tearing through scales tougher than anything you have faced before. Your fangs do not stop at the surface. They keep driving deeper, straight through muscle, straight toward the artery beneath. The Snake King's body convulses, a full 20 meters of coiled muscle thrashing in agony all at once. It tries to fling you loose, slamming its own head against the cavern wall. But you have learned this lesson from smaller prey 100 times already. Hook on. Do not let go. No matter how much it hurts, no matter how hard the world spins. Its tail whips through the cavern, shattering rock, scattering the smaller pythons that had been circling just moments before. None of them dare step in to help their king. Cold-blooded creatures do not know loyalty. They only know self-preservation. You feel your own body being torn in a dozen directions at once, blood soaking into your fur, your own and its. But your jaw does not loosen. Your talent burns through every last reserve of strength you still have left. The heaven-defying strike you already spent earlier is gone for the day. But you never needed it a second time. 30 points of raw strength, times a multiplier built from an ant's first desperate kill all the way up to a tiger's stolen bones. Every single evolution point you have ever earned, every fragment, every fusion, every scar, is compressed into this one single bite. The convulsions slow. The thrashing weakens. The cavern, moments ago a battlefield, falls into an eerie, ringing silence. When the massive body finally goes still beneath you, you do not immediately let go. Half convinced it is another trick. It is not. The true ruler of this snake nest lies motionless on the cavern floor, and you are still standing over it, barely. The surrounding pythons do not attack. They do not flee either. They simply watch, waiting to see what comes next from the thing that just killed their king. You drag yourself off its body, every limb screaming, and stagger toward the small tree in the corner, the one this entire nest nearly died protecting. 3 dark green fruits still hang from its branches, undisturbed, waiting. You take them, not out of greed, but because something that costs this much blood should never be left behind. Behind you, the leaderless pythons begin retreating into the deeper dark of the fissure, already forgetting the fight the instant it ends. That is the world you live in now. No mourning, no revenge. Only whoever is left standing. You are the one left standing. You climb back through the tunnel you dug hours earlier, every muscle protesting, and finally break out into open air, into real sunlight. The Cyan wolf pack is still nearby, regrouping from their own battle, and their alpha turns the moment he sees you emerge. You saved my life, he says, no longer looking at you like a stranger who wandered out of nowhere. I am looking to expand my territory, you tell him honestly, because pretending otherwise has never once worked out in your favor. The alpha studies you for a long moment, weighing pride against the debt he clearly feels he owes you. Then, in front of his entire pack, he lowers his head. That single gesture settles more than any fight could have. 100 Cyan wolves fall in line, not through conquest, but through respect earned in blood. Your own quest chimes quietly in the back of your mind. Expand and grow. Complete. You think back, for just a moment, to a nest full of black worker ants and a countdown that once read under 3 hours. From there to here took every single fight, every questionable decision. Every point spent when saving them would have felt safer. To full days later, you finally make it back to your own den, trailing a second pack behind you now, doubled in size overnight. Lycan sees you first, and for one heart-stopping second, he freezes at the sight of the blood still crusted into your fur. Boss, you are back, he breathes, relief cracking his voice wide open. I told you I would come back, you say, and mean every word of it completely. You did not just come back, he says, staring past you at the second pack filing in behind you. You brought an army. You did not become the Wolf King to sit quietly in one den forever. You tell him. There is a whole jungle out there. That night, the combined packs share a hunt larger than anything this territory has seen in years. And for once, you eat until you are actually full. The spirit fruits go straight into your inventory, untouched for now, saved for whatever the system decides they are worth later. Your lifespan counter, once a source of pure dread, now reads in months instead of hours, purchased one desperate fight at a time. You think back to that very first quest. Kill any living creature. You had no hands. You barely had legs that worked properly. Now you have an entire jungle that howls when you howl, and packs that kneel because they choose to, not because they have to. The tiger that once humiliated you with a single exhale is nothing but bones fused into your own skeleton now, carried with you in every step. The boar king who tried to wipe out your family is dust, and his herd's fragments are locked away in your inventory. The snake king who nearly buried you alive in his own nest is the reason your ceiling just rose higher than ever before. Every single enemy that ever thought you were beneath them ended up becoming part of the very power that outlasted them. You were never given a god-tier start. You were given a countdown, a talent, and absolutely nothing else. Everything after that, you built yourself. One desperate fight, one reckless bet, one impossible kill at a time. That is the entire story, really. Not a chosen one blessed by fate, but an ant who simply refused to accept the timer on his own life. Lycan settles in beside you as the fires die down, the newly expanded pack finally quiet for the night. Boss, what happens now, he asks, the way he always does when the day's danger has finally passed. Now, you tell him, watching the stars over a jungle that used to terrify you and now answers to you. We keep growing. There is always something bigger out there. Always another nest, another territory, another creature that thinks it stands above you. But you have learned something no stat panel could ever teach. Strength is not something you are given. It is something you take, one kill, one choice at a time. You started as a worker ant with 3 hours to live, small enough to be crushed underfoot without anyone noticing. You end this chapter as the Wolf King of 2 packs, carrying tiger bone in your skeleton and a snake king's fruit in your inventory. The countdown that once defined every second of your existence has become something else entirely. Not a death sentence, but a reminder. Every day you are still alive is a day you fought for, clawed for, bled for, and refused to give back. And somewhere out in that jungle, something else is watching, wondering if the rumors about a wolf that used to be an ant are actually true. Let them wonder. Let them come find out. Because whatever crosses your path next, weak or terrifying, ancient or newly hatched, one truth about you has already been proven beyond any doubt. You do not need a god-tier start to become something the entire food chain fears. You just need to refuse to die quietly, one evolution point at a time. And that, more than any system, more than any talent, more than any stolen bone or fused fruit, is what actually made you king. Rewind again, all the way back to the very first fight inside the ant nest. Because a few details are worth revisiting. When you first climbed onto that unlucky worker ant's back, you genuinely did not know how ants were even supposed to fight. Do I use my antenna? Do I use these completely blunt front legs? None of it made any sense to a mind that used to be human. In the end, biting one out, purely because it was the only option left on the table. Mid-fight, you accidentally snapped off one of its antennae entirely, sending it careening wildly round the nest, dragging you along for the ride. The whole scene looked less like a battle and more like two idiots crashing into every wall in sight. But an unlucky bastard is still an unlucky bastard in the end. And that first kill bought you your very first day of borrowed time. Later, once you had evolved into a soldier ant and things started actually going your way, you asked the system a pointed question. Are the soldier ants outside as strong as I am now? The host is an existence destined to trample gods and demons, it answered, as if that settled the matter completely. Even creatures of the exact same species cannot compare to you, it added, and for once, you had absolutely no complaints about the answer. When you evolved into a male ant and grew your very first pair of wings, the sensation nearly overwhelmed you. Nearly 10 pounds of force running through a body that, just hours earlier, could not even beat a single chicken. That kind of power turns a mind cocky fast. And cocky is exactly the mindset that sent you flying straight up into a tiger's shadow. Back in the beehive days, before that first shop unlocked, you actually tallied your progress out loud, in your own head, more than once. 10,000 evolution points. That was the exact number the system needed before it would even show you a shop interface at all. Lifespan, 1,000 points a day. Basic healing potion, 1,000 points a bottle. Basic poison, 1,000 points a bottle. Your heart ached every single time you spent on lifespan instead of stats, knowing full well you were trading tomorrow for survival today. Isn't there way too little stuff in this shop? You complain once, half joking, half genuinely frustrated. Level 1 shop is the lowest tier, the system replied. Reach 100,000 points, and level to unlocks. That number felt impossible back then. A distant dream you were not sure your lifespan would even let you reach. And yet, kill by kill, fragment by fragment, you closed that gap without ever really noticing exactly when it happened. When you finally evolved into a manus, your new stat readout hit you almost as hard as the fight that earned it. Constitution, strength, and agility all crossed into double digits for the first time in your entire life in this world. 50 pounds of force compressed into a body barely 20 centimeters long. You could have lifted a full sack of rice without straining. And your twin blades, sharpened by that new talent, cut through lesser prey the way a hot knife slides through soft butter. Dealing with a handful of ordinary ants after that felt less like a fight, and more like an insult to everything you had just become. You did it anyway, because your evolution points were running dry. And pride has never once paid the bills in this world. When the system finally explained why weak kills stopped rewarding you, the exact phrasing stuck with you for days afterward. Killing creatures to far beneath the host's own power level will not yield evolution points. It stated, cold and completely without apology. No warning beforehand. No fine print you could have read in advance. Just a rule you had to learn the hard way mid-grind. That single rule reshaped your entire strategy from that point forward. No more easy kills. Only fights that actually cost you something. It is the exact same rule that eventually sent you wading, unbothered, into a river full of hungry crocodiles. Why wasn't this wolf running? The animals watching from the tree line whispered among themselves, utterly baffled by your calm. Swimming this slow. What is there to even be afraid of? You thought, more impatient than intimidated at that point in your growth. It is strange, looking back, how quickly true danger stops feeling dangerous once you have already survived worse. A dozen times over. A tiger's exhale used to send you tumbling out of the sky. By the end, that same tiger's bones were fused into your own skeleton. A single worker ant used to take you a full exhausting minute to bring down. By the end, entire herds fell in a single afternoon. That is not talent. That is not luck. That is simply what happens when you refuse to stop fighting, day after day, kill after kill. Rewind once more, to the exact night the wild boar corpses finally stopped piling up. Because the number that night mattered. 19,230 evolution points. Sitting untouched in your inventory after a single brutal battle. You could have dumped every last one of them straight into your stats on the spot. Instead, you chose to wait. Saving them for the shop upgrade felt riskier in the moment. But you had already learned that patience pays better than panic. That single decision is what let the thick, high talent reach advanced tier days later, doubling your constitution outright. A warm current rolled through your entire body the instant it activated, and your wounds started closing almost as fast as they opened. It is a small thing, maybe, choosing to wait one more day before spending. But small choices like that are what actually built this version of you. Back in the wolf den, after the very first feast with the pack, Lankin curled up beside you, stomach round and full for the first time in his life. "Big brother, did you never get enough to eat before?" he had asked once, staring at you with genuine pity in his eyes. You never answered that one honestly. Some things do not translate well between a wolf pup and a man who used to starve, for entirely different reasons. Instead, you just told him to eat more, and let the silence say the rest. When you fed him that very first talent stone, some part of you hesitated just for a second, wondering if power like that should stay yours alone. The hesitation lasted exactly as long as it took to remember every single time. This pack had risked everything to keep you alive. 8 elderly wolves gave their lives so the pups could run. An entire pack dug through solid rock with bare paws just to reach you. Sharing power with people who have already proven they would die for you has never once felt like a difficult decision after that. That is the part no stat panel ever measures. Not strength, not agility, not evolution points. Just who actually shows up when everything falls apart. An ant colony never once showed up for you. A wolf pack did without hesitation, without a single question asked. Maybe that is the real difference between a nest and a family. One simply exists around you. The other chooses you, again and again. You think about that a lot now, standing at the edge of your expanded territory, watching the pack settle in for the night under the same sky. None of this was ever promised to you. Not the strength, not the family, not even the extra days layered on top of that original 3-hour countdown. Every single piece of it was earned, one kill, one risk, one impossible choice at a time. And somewhere far behind you now, buried under everything you have become, there is still a tiny worker ant who once thought he had nothing. He was wrong. He had a talent nobody believed in, a countdown nobody thought he would beat, and a refusal to simply lie down and accept it. That refusal is the only thing that never evolved, never upgraded, never once needed a single evolution point spent on it. It was there in the very first bite inside the ant nest, and it is still there now, in a body carrying a tiger's bones and a snake king's blood. Whatever comes next, whatever creature decides you look like easy prey, that same refusal will be waiting for it. Because the truth this entire journey keeps proving, over and over, is simple enough to say in one sentence. Weakness is not where you start. It is only where you stop. If you ever choose to stop at all, you never did. From a 3-hour countdown to a pack kingdom, from a body with no hands to fangs that killed a snake king 20 meters long, the distance traveled here is almost impossible to measure. But it was never about the size of the body, or the number on the stat panel, or even the species written at the top of that panel. It was always about the one thing that stayed constant through every single evolution, every fusion, every desperate, bloody fight. The will to survive one more day, and then to spend that day earning the next one. That is the story of the ant who refused to die in 3 hours, and became, one impossible choice at a time, exactly what the system promised on day one. An existence that tramples gods and demons. Not because it was given to him, because he took it, kill by kill, breath by breath for every single day he was ever meant to lose. And that is where we leave him tonight, teeth still locked around a fallen king. A jungle finally quiet, and a countdown that no longer decides how his story ends. Thanks for watching this recap all the way through. And if this journey from tiny ant to wolf king hit different for you, that is exactly the point.